Hey there, Darren Garman here, and welcome to the Heartland Multifamily Show, the place for all things multifamily. And I got to tell you, on this episode, I'm excited to talk about, yes, the R word. The R word, and that word is recession. That's right, recession. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these guys that likes to throw fear around and scare people and use that really as a means of communicating. That's not it at all. But what I want to tell you, though, the exciting part of this episode is I'm going to reveal to you 5 key strategies that successful multifamily owners implement to prepare for the upcoming recession. And not only are these strategies good to use in preparation for the upcoming recession, but also during the recession. Okay, now look, you are at the channel for all things multifamily. So if what I'm going to be covering with you today makes sense, if it resonates with you, if you like what you hear, please make sure you give me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel where there's all things multifamily and wanting you to be as a successful multifamily investor as possible, especially in good times and during that's right, that R word, recession. Okay? Welcome to the Heartland Multifamily Show, the shorter, more profitable path to multifamily ownership and investing. What are those 5 key strategies to use in order to prepare for the upcoming recession, even during the recession? But before I get into the strategies, let's be honest with each other, okay? We're probably in the recession right now, okay? As I'm recording this and as you're watching this, we are probably in the recession right now. So what we're going to be talking about, I don't think is really theory. I don't think it's, gee, what if this happens? Folks, we're in it. We're in the recession. So these 5 strategies, these 5 key strategies, I think, are going to not just be theoretical. Man, these 5 key strategies are going to be huge and important for you when it comes to being the best at multifamily. So let's go ahead and let's jump into this. What is strategy number 1? The first thing that successful multifamily owners and investors need to do is complete an MFA. Okay, I'm going to say it again. MFA. That's multifamily assessment. Multifamily assessment. Now you're probably wondering, Darren, what's a multifamily assessment? What are you talking about? Well, a multifamily assessment really consists of 3 main categories. Okay, the first category is what I call cut the fat. Okay, cut the fat. So at whatever multifamily property you're looking at possibly investing in, or maybe you're an owner of multifamily properties right now, or maybe even several multifamily properties. Look, you got to be looking at where you should cut the fat. And let's be honest with ourselves right now. The market has been so good over the last 3 to 5 years. It's been easy for us to, get some fat. Okay, especially when it comes to our operations, especially when it comes to the day-to-day operations of our multifamily properties. Okay, and even then, management and all sorts of other areas. So what you really want to do, step 1, when it comes to that multifamily assessment, is cut the fat. What areas do you need to be looking at right now, not next week, not next month, right now where you need to cut the fat? And look, if we're honest with ourselves, we already know there are areas that probably come to mind right away. Okay, so that's number 1, cut the fat. Number 2, as part of that multifamily assessment, is budget review. Budget review. Now look, I know that sounds like one of the most boring things you can do. Okay, let's sit down and have a budget review. I mean, oh my God, right? It doesn't sound like much fun. But this is critical. This is super critical because there's no way in hell your budgets look the same now as they did 6 months ago. There's no way. There's no way. And if you're looking at buying a multifamily property in the near future, you better know that that's the case. Budgets are changing. They're changing every day. And not only are they changing compared to where they were 6 months ago, think about where those budgets are going to be 6 months from now. Okay? So 6 months before, where we're at now, 6 months from now. That's where that budget review needs to happen. Now look, you don't need to get into the weeds on every little single penny and dime here or there. No, but you need to be doing this overview, because I guarantee that your numbers have not only changed over the last 6 months, they're going to be changing big time going into the future. Okay, and then part 3 of that multifamily assessment is really to get your balance sheet in order. Okay, get your balance sheet in order. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? Get your balance sheet in order, Darren. What I mean is 2 main things about getting your balance sheet in order. Number 1, you want to be putting away and having as much dry powder or cash as you can. And I'm going to talk about why that's necessary here a little bit later. Okay, so balance sheet needs to look really good as far as how much cash you have available right now and over the coming months. That's part 1 of that. Part 2 is equity. You want to be having a lot of equity showing on that balance sheet. Okay, your balance sheet needs to be showing strong cash and strong equity. Okay, I'm going to talk to you here in a little bit on why that is, but you want that to be super strong on your apartment community's balance sheet, apartments that you own right now or apartments that you're looking at purchasing. You want to be requesting that balance sheet information and looking for strength in cash and in equity. I mean, if you're seeing the opposite, oh, we don't have much cash, or there's not really much cash being put away in reserve, or man, we got a lot of debt. We're really highly leveraged. Okay, those are red flags and those are warning signals. You want to be right now the exact opposite of that with the strong balance sheet. So again, multifamily assessment, cut the fat. Okay, budget review, last 6 months, now next 6 months, and that cash is king. Okay, now that's number 1, multifamily assessment. Number 2 is now is the time to double down on CEM. Hey, it's an acronym episode, okay? CEM. What the heck am I talking about? Culture, energy, and manifesto. Okay? Double down on culture, energy, and manifesto. Look, let me ask you this question. How important will it be to have a solid, trusting, ready to do everything they necessarily have to do in terms of what your staff is like, your management is like, your maintenance technicians, okay? All of the vendors that you deal with. How important is it going to be in a recession, going through a recession, to have as much energy as you possibly can? Embracement of your company manifesto. Okay, here's what we stand for. Here's our values. Here's what we really find important. Okay, and culture. Culture. How important is it going to be for you to double down on your culture? During good times when everything is great and the market's been fantastic, easy to do. But when things get tough, when there are people looking to you for answers, they're looking to you for leadership, now is the time to double down on those 3 things. So you got to double down on CEM. That's number 2. Culture, energy, and company or philosophical manifesto. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, what is the 3rd item that you need to be implementing to prepare for the upcoming recession, even used during the upcoming recession? Well, it's going to be maybe a little bit of a surprise because you may not think this would be the case, but I promise you it's the case. You want to be aggressively looking for opportunities. Aggressively, right now, and going into the next 6 to 12, even 24 months, you want to be looking for opportunities. Why? Because they are going to present themselves. Here's a fact. And by the way, I'm not controlling this. It's just the way it is. And here it is. What one person's problem, what one person's issue or tragedy, many times is another person's benefit, another person's reward. So what do I mean by that? there are going to be multifamily properties coming up. I'm even starting to see some now that are coming up where there's some cracks in those properties, okay? Not real cracks. I'm not being, I'm not being real that there's cracks in the property. I mean, there's cracks in the financials. There's cracks in the management. There's cracks in the company philosophy. There's cracks starting to show. What happens when cracks start to show in a multifamily investment? Well, what that means for us is a possible buying opportunity. So what am I doing? Man, I'm looking aggressively to buy. Buying opportunities are going to be coming up. Make no mistake about it. A lot of times what most people think they should do to prepare for a recession, during a recession, hey, let's dial back. Let's just kind of wait and see. Let's play it safe. Sure, you want to use some common sense, but let's be realistic for a second. Opportunities are going to present themselves, so you need to be ready for those opportunities, which is why before, in point number 2, okay, strategy number 2, I said have strong cash balances on your balance sheet and have strong equity positions, because we want to use that cash and that equity as a launching pad, as a foundation into opportunities that will be coming up. And I promise you, right now, opportunities are starting to come on the market. More and more will come. I'm already seeing it. Cracks are forming in those multi-family properties. Well, why are cracks forming? Well, maybe their management isn't quite right. Maybe the partnership or the ownership isn't quite on the same page. There's many, many reasons why cracks could form. But the bottom line is they're going to form. Okay? They're going to form. And again, I'm not talking literal cracks in properties. I'm talking in those projects, and those cracks are going to turn into opportunities for those that are aggressively looking. So don't stop looking. Be aggressive in finding those projects. Okay, that's 3. Let's get to number 4. Strategy number 4. You've got to continue to invest in yourself. That's strategy number 4. And look, here's what happens a lot of times. Again, when the markets are good, when things are going great, it's easy to take time to invest in yourself and travel to that conference, or listen to a podcast that you think could be beneficial, or invest in the time in reading that next book and spending the time on yourself to. But when things get, kind of hairy, things are, kind of uncertain, it's easy to push that aside and just deal with what's right in front of you. Well, that's the opposite of what you need to do. Okay. And again, I'm not saying you hide from your problems, you ignore them and act like your problems aren't there, or that the recession isn't coming. Of course not. But you need to continue to invest in yourself now more than any other time. Okay? Because you want to be showing up every day with as much energy and with as much knowledge and with as much execution as you possibly can. Not only when things are good, but when things are not good. Okay? So don't stop doing that. Continue to invest in yourself, in those things that will bring you value, those around you value, and those multifamily holdings that you have or that you're working on, bringing them value too. Okay? So we've covered 4 so far. Let's get into strategy number 5 to be using and implementing in preparing for the upcoming recession. And it's simply this. Don't get distracted and deal with reality. Okay? Deal with reality and don't get distracted. Right? So look, there's some of you watching me right now. You're not dealing with reality right now. You're not even making any plans or preparation or doing anything in the background, okay, for the upcoming recession. The recession, again, that I believe is already here. You're kind of ignoring it. You're thinking, well, it'll pass. I'm busy with all these other things. I got all this other stuff going on. I'm just not going to worry. I'm not going to participate in that, Darren. I got other things going on. You've got to deal with reality as things really are, not as you wish it to be. Okay? And in addition to that, I want you to think about this. When things start to get bad, when the R word, the recession, really gets grinding away, people are going to be looking for leaders. All right? Those that maybe invest with you are going to be looking right at you to lead. Your management teams, they're going to be looking for you to lead. Your maintenance technicians, your employees, your investors, your vendors, people that you deal with on a daily basis are going to be looking for you to lead. Okay? They're going to be looking right at you. So if you're someone that isn't dealing with reality, if you're someone that is not spending their energy being in today, the way things are going today and how they could unfold in the future, how many people are you going to let down by doing that? And here's the other thing. You can't get distracted either. What do I mean by that? Well, there's all sorts of bad news that's going to be popping up day after day. Okay, there's going to be bad news coming up, things that have to do with you in your world and things that have nothing to do with you, but you'll get distracted and looking at that bad news and talking about that bad news. No. So what am I saying with strategy number 5? What I'm saying is deal with reality, focus on reality, but don't get distracted with things that you cannot control and things that are outside of your world that have really nothing to do with you. Okay, so, man, that's a lot of strategies today. And what I've covered are the 5 strategies to implement that successful multifamily investors and owners implement and will implement, not only to prepare for the coming recession, but also during the recession. So let's talk about what those are again real quick. Number 1, remember your MFA, okay? Your multifamily audit, which consisted of cutting the fat, budget review, and remember cash and equity is king and heavy on the balance sheet, okay? Number 2, double down on culture, energy, and manifesto, CEM, all right? Number 3, you got to get aggressive. It's time to get aggressive at looking for opportunities. They will come up. Number 4, you got to invest in yourself. You've got to continue to invest in yourself. And then number 5, deal with reality. Deal with reality, not as you wish it to be, but as things are, and don't get distracted. Okay, so look, I hope this episode has been useful for you, and I actually recommend you come back, watch, and listen to this maybe 2 or 3 times, because as you're going to see, as we're all going to experience that R word, recession, I'm afraid it's already here. And I want you to be as effective and as good as you can possibly be. Man, not only when the times are good, not only when things are working out great and the market's good, but just think how great you will be when you're able to handle these things effectively when we hit a recession. All right? Again, reminder, I want to hear some comments from you below. Please leave me some comments. Would love to hear from you. And if you want to be locked into all things multifamily, make sure you hit the subscribe button.